And a big good evening and welcome everyone to our stream today where we will be revealing our next season's grid. Obviously, we are around 5 minutes late than what we should have been, but nevertheless, better late than never, and we are here with our grids. Today, in the commentary box with me, I have 8 cylinders who will be my co-commentator, and we will have some chat over the grid today. So 8 what are your expectations today, provided that you are also one of the persons who have no idea about the grid? Obviously I do have some idea about the grid, but you being the person who will also be surprised seeing most of these reveals.
Yep, my reactions are going to be very important because that's going to be genuine. So I can kind of embody what most of the people in the chat are feeling today, and there's quite a few people joining us. So I think we started a little fashionably late, but I think we can get into it
Yes,
because
indeed. So
people have been waiting for this.
yeah, so we will tease them a bit more, you know what I say. So, this will be our flow of the reveal today. So, we will be starting off with tier 1, tier 2, and then we'll go to tier 3, and then we will say the grid for the Xbox tier. And at the end, we do have a surprise for you guys for our next season. Something new that we are gonna do in the next season. So, do stay tuned till the last of this grid reveal, and the team order you can ignore, that might go up and down. So we will, without further delay, what do you say, Eitzel? Should we start with tier 1?
Yep, let's go. Let's go. Tier 1.
Starting off the pack, we have right now Moto and the Banat. What do you have to say, Eitzel? I am just I already know, so I won't be able to give much of a reaction on this. I believe you will be the correct person to give some info on this as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Moto's definitely done enough to keep his spot in Tier 1. We saw some promising performances from him last season. But Banat also, great performance from him in Tier 2. He's come leaps and bounds in his F1 career. He started off a little bit shaky in Tier 2 last season with a couple of mistakes here and there, but he's instantly solidified himself as one of the front runners in Tier 2, and he's definitely got the pace for Tier 1 as well. So I think it's only right that he made the jump from Tier 2 to Tier 1. So super happy with that lineup, and yeah, they can benefit a lot from each other's, teammate hood. But I think Banat's fans, if there are any of them watching, will be a little disappointed to see him not paired with Freeman, and L Plan will not return this season. But maybe we might see something else from the
Yeah,
two this.
nevertheless, they should not be afraid of. One second. What the hell just happened? Okay, yeah, so they should not be definitely afraid of the pairing as well, because Moto has definitely shown a lot of pace with us in the previous season as well, and Banat getting promoted from tier 2 to tier 1 will obviously might not have his same teammate that he had in the last season. Moving on, we have the pairing of Tanish and Babaji in the Mercedes. Again, a few points on this pairing. We have Tanish, who was in tier 1 since the beginning. He has joined here at IRC, and Babaji, who is trying to make a comeback this season, not being that much available or participating in our league in the last season, but this season he has got his stuff together and he has got his mind together to again come back to the league racing here at IRC. So, any comments on this pairing, or should we move ahead, Eitzel?
I think Tanish only participated in 2 or 3 races last season, but the ones that he participated in, he pretty much won. So I think Tanish being in Tier 1 is a no-brainer. Really happy to see Baba back as well. I think he's taken a short hiatus from league racing in general, not just F1, but also we've not been seeing him in ACC as well. So nice to see Baba back. And yeah, I think definitely he's got the pace to be competitive in Tier 1. So yeah, great team partnership for Mercedes this season. So they should be looking to do well in the Constructors' Championship. So
In
yeah, I've got strong hopes.
Indeed, indeed. So let's just move forward. We have the next pairing in the Alfa Romeo boys. It's Kapil Ace and Harry. Harry again being promoted from tier 2 to tier 1 this season.
In there for the rest of the season. And yeah, Alpha Boys have a lot of work to do though against some of the stronger driver lineups, but there's definitely some a team to keep an eye on, I would say.
Yes, indeed. I believe
The Pancho,
yeah.
yeah, the internet, the stream is down.
Yeah, I don't know how it went down. Just a second. Sorry for that minor hiccup. I had stopped the stream by mistake, or my internet just decided to go off. But we were talking about Kapil Ace and Harry, and how this pairing can be really the one to look for. And Kapil, being the master trainer in the last season as well, will be a trainer for this season as well for Harry Rocks here. Moving on, we have the pairing of uh, the SD and Don in the Williams. So, what do you have to say about this pairing itself?
I think I'm really excited to see SD in a Williams. I think it'll give me a chance to see the Williams at the front of the grid. After driving for Williams last season, I didn't do a very good job of representing my favorite team on the Tier 1 grid, but I definitely have strong hopes for this driver partnership. I definitely see SD being one of the title contenders, one of the strongest drivers we have in the F1 on in terms of playing the F1 game, and not one to shy away from a challenge and one to shy away from a fight. I think he's also got quite a bit of proficiency on controller as well. A very adaptable driver, very skilled, and I'm happy to see Don back on the grid as well. I think he took a break last season, or he wasn't available for most of the season. He was briefly, or he was in Tier 2 the season prior to that, but now he's made the step up to Tier 1. So a little bit of an unknown prospect, let's say. But yeah, that's a great partnership for Williams. I definitely see SD being up there fighting for the driver's title, and well, only the season can tell us how Don will help SD in the constructors' championship.
Yeah, the one best thing that I liked about these pairing is basically all these drivers are trying to, we have paired so that one of the experienced guy is there to train a younger folk and get him up as well. So that will be seen today across all the tiers, where we have tried to pair a experienced driver with a little bit less experienced driver, so that they can obviously follow the footsteps and obviously reach up to the top. Moving on, we have the Aston Martin pairing of Helium and Starmax Lord. Starmax Lord being one of our Xbox players till the last season here at IRC, and this season he is back with F1 on PC as well. So, what are your expectations on him? We already know Helium is pretty quick. Again, Helium taking a break and coming back from that as well. So, a lot of returning back drivers in Tier 1 we are seeing this season. So, what are your comments on this pairing itself?
I think Tier 1 is looking very saucy this season, Dipanshu. I think we've got a lot of strong drivers. As you said, we've tried to pair up every driver with, as in every strong driver with a weak driver. I think we definitely got a grid of 20 strong drivers if we really wanted to make it like an esports shootout, basically just putting 20 fast drivers out there. But yeah, Starmax Lord, a bit of an unknown quantity. We've seen him in on the Xbox side before, and yeah, he's definitely got the potential. I think he was 10th in the championship last season, so a little bit of work necessary, but the fact that he's in Tier 1 means he's definitely got the pace, and I think he's represented himself very well in the qualifiers, let's say, for putting himself in contention for Tier 1. So yeah, it's going to be a big step up for him. The drivers around him are going to be faster, the quality is going to be higher. So definitely going to be keeping an eye out on Starmax Lord in the Aston Martin. And Helium, as you mentioned already, is a known quantity. He's fast, he's quick, he's aggressive. He's got all the he's got all the hallmarks of being an F1 championship. Just hasn't hooked up for him in previous seasons. Always had some sort of difficulty, but this season should be the one for him if he takes part in every race.
Indeed, and talking about Helium himself, he has gone ABS of this season, so will be interesting to look how he can fare out with that, because of the restrictions of Tier 1. But definitely based on what we saw in our shorting process or the evaluation races, he did not seem to lose a tiny bit of space as well from his ABS on time. So will be an interesting pairing to look out for throughout the season. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But moving on, we have the Alpha Tauri pairing of Oxygen and Kubarabi. Kubarabi being our champion last season. This is gonna be an interesting pairing, although he is now paired with Oxygen as well, who has been up there in our previous seasons, season 2, season 3. Oxygen is a person who has been with IRC since almost the first season here at IRC. So we have a veteran who is gonna pair in with the newly champion of our season 7 of Tier 1. What do you have to think about this itself?
I think all of the points that you mentioned are very accurate, and I would agree with all of them. But the one thing I would say is both of these guys have struggled a little bit with consistency over the past couple of seasons. I think Oxygen and Kaushik were together in the Red Bull last season, and everyone was talking about how there was a really strong driver lineup that would eventually net them the Drivers' Championship. But unfortunately, there was a couple of races where these guys were slightly off color, maybe a couple of incidents here and there. But yeah, this on paper, I can definitely see this team doing well, but on the track, it's a very different prospect entirely. So yeah, definitely one of the dark horses, I would say. I can't really immediately pin them and say, yep, this is a contender for the constructors' championship. I think, yep, as you said, both of these drivers do have pace, but I'm going to say they're going to be the dark horses. They're going to give the top guys some trouble, but they really have to be working on their consistency and racecraft if they're going to be fighting right at the front.
Indeed, and one more thing that is not gonna help Kubarabi is that Kubarabi has gone off ABS this season, so it is a completely new feeling for him on this game, on all the tracks that he has won races or taken part in the previous season. So that's gonna be something that we have to look out for in Kubarabi. But moving on, we have the pairing of Black Sheep and myself, No More Propi, in the Alpine team. I believe it will be better if you comment on this. Obviously, it looks like a very strong pairing, but considering that even I have been on a break from F1 in for a very long time, I have been paired with Black Sheep for him to guide me this season. What do you think about this pairing, Etzel?
I think the one thing I can say is that Alpine car just refuses to not get any less beautiful. I mean, what a stunning car, man. But I think both of you guys have definitely gotten your first car preference. I think both of you did want the Alpine prior to the season. I saw you guys practicing with this car. So yeah, I think Black Sheep is definitely going to be happy. I think he wanted the Alpine as well. But yeah, very strong driver lineup. Obviously, Black Sheep is a given commodity. We've seen him a lot last season fighting at the front in the Ferrari. So mixing up some Italian colors for some French ones for Black Sheep. But I think you're going to be an interesting driver as well, because I think you only took part in Silverstone and a couple of other races last season.
I did not. I only have 25 hours on this game, so I have not at all participated in this game. But yeah, talking about Black Sheep, one thing that we saw in the last season was that he was either hit by unfortunate incidents or was not able to complete some of the races, in fact most of the races, because of some kind of incident that went down with him, and I hope that that does not happen this season as well.
The minute Alpine showed up on the screen, everybody's spamming L plan in the chat. So I think it's only appropriate that you guys have some work to do going into the season if you're going to live up to the L plan phrase.
Yes, indeed. But moving on, we have the pairing of Wilster G and Aradhya Gupta in McLaren in Tier 1. So Aradhya Gupta being this being his first season here at IRC, has managed to sneak up to Tier 1 with his pace. So that's gonna be interesting to see how he fares out when he's actually driving beside the best we have to offer in India here at IRC. So he is being currently paired with Wilster G, who was up there in the previous season as well and showing a lot of performance. Obviously, I was also paired with Wilster G in one of the seasons. I think it was season 6, and I know that that man has got pace and that man has got consistency where he needs it to be. Also, one issue that Wilster G faces is that he doesn't use a lot of ERS, so he might seem slow, but at the end you can expect a very big raging bull behind you, obviously in terms of a McLaren power right now. But what do you have to say about this pairing?
Yeah, it's going to be a raging orange papaya coming up from behind you this time around, not a bull per se. But yeah, Wilster, I've definitely raced with him a couple of times. I think in Mexico, initially he seemed a little bit off color, but he was just simply saving his tires, saving his ERS for a late charge, and I think he got P5 in the end. So he's definitely got he's got 90% of the package. He just needs that last 10% to really cement himself as a top driver. He's got a lot of potential, as you said, and of course the unknown quantity in Aradhya Gupta as well. We're yet to see any kind. I think we've seen good performance from him in the evaluation races so far. So yeah, good looking partnership for McLaren. Definitely a point to prove this season. I think that would be the conclusion for them.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Moving on, we have the final, if I'm not wrong, the pairing of AVNV and Dojin in the Ferrari, the red prancing horses. So AVNB being again for him, this being his sort of first full-time season here at IRC, and this time again he is going with the tier 1 boys in the evaluation races. We were able to see a lot of pace coming out from this man, and especially considering that he just went off ABS as well because of our tier 1 restriction. It's looking more and more one-sided at this point that AVNB might just be the one guy who just flies off if he gets a chance in the distance in our league. But we will have to see, because he is right now paired with Dwajin, who was in tier 3, tier 2020 last season, and
I think Dwajin was in tier 2
2.
last
Okay,
season.
my bad. So he was in tier 2. He is promoted to tier 1 this season, and he is obviously ABS off, and most of the assists are off for both of these people. So what do you think about this pairing? We do not have much info on this pairing, especially in tier 1, but what do you have to say about this pairing?
I think one thing I can say about this driver pairing is I'm very, very excited for it. I think genuinely I'm very excited to see how both of these drivers get on. Envy, I think amongst the IRC coordinators and sort of top brass, the higher ranking members, we've had a look at how Envy drives, and this man is quick. If anyone's wondering in the chat if anybody they should keep an eye out for any of the new boys, Envy is definitely the man to look out for. He's got the pace, he's got the consistency, and I think he's got the racecraft as well. And I'm really happy for Dwajin. I think he showed some great consistency, great pace last season. Just got a little bit unlucky, and I think he wasn't super serious in taking part in all of the races with ACC and a couple of other series as well. So yeah, this driver lineup, both of them in those bright red Maranello Ferraris, I think it's going to be really, really saucy, and I think this is a driver lineup that I'm going to personally be keeping an eye out for, because on paper, it makes sense. They've got the one fast driver and the consistent second driver who can do the job week in, week out. It's just going to be a matter of how seriously they take the job, because Dwajin has a habit of slacking a little bit on F1 and paying more attention to ACC. So yeah, that's a driver lineup to look out for on paper. So get practicing, boys.
Yes, they have to get practicing, because we are starting racing this week onwards. And on that note, tier 1 will be raced. The people in tier 1 will race on Sunday at 8 p.m. tentatively. Again, that time might change based on IRL racing time. So in real life, if there is a GP happening at that duration, that time might go 1 hour up and down. That thing will happen on week by week basis, but tentatively tier 1 will be streamed on our IRC channel, obviously at 8 p.m. IST on Sundays. So every week, whenever we have a race, we will be having a stream, and our tier 1 boys will be there to show you guys what they have got inside their bag. Let me just confirm that we didn't miss anyone. We did miss one team, that is the Red Bull, where we have a pairing of Akashes. So
Yes.
we have two Akash being paired together. Akash Sonamne going in head to head with Akash. We are trying to do a Abhi pairing here as well in tier 1 this season, it seems like.
Yeah, I remember that joke from tier 2 where both the Red Bull drivers were Abhi and Abhi 20. And so this time around, we're continuing the meme with Akash and Akash. Definitely no pressure to the commentators. I think when you say Akash and the Red Bull, you have to specify which one. But yeah, we saw some great early season pace from Akash Sonavane. He definitely had the consistency, he had the racecraft as well, and he was consistently getting up there, P4, P5, race after race. But towards the end of the season, not quite sure what happened. His form and his speed started dropping off a little bit. I think he also didn't. The whole grid in general in Tier 1 last season was a bit topsy-turvy. We had drivers coming in from all over the place. So, we had the most unlikely drivers on podium some races, and sometimes they were right at the back of the field. So, yeah, Akash, both of them were in tier 1 last time around, and
Yeah.
I think both of them have a point to prove, because they were out of the top 10 in terms of the driver standings.
Yes.
In the final driver standings. So yeah, maybe this can be one of those really strong teams that tries to consistently get points and then slowly try to make their way up the table throughout the season, rather than starting off strong and then really burning out towards the end of the season. So yeah, we're very sorry to everyone in the chat. They were all spamming Red Bull when we were talking about the tier 1 schedule and timing. So yeah, we haven't missed out Red Bull. We are just they're just fashionably late to the party.
Yes, they are just fashionably late to the party. One thing that I've noticed about this pairing is that all the other pairings had a stronger driver, had a weaker driver, but this team seems to have both the drivers who are almost equivalent in pace and right there in the middle field. So if these both people can improve slight bit also, and if they are able to score points every race, I think this can be a pairing to look out for. Obviously we have our lovely chat people reminding us to get to Red Bull. Don't worry, we will not forget. I will definitely check before moving on to the next year, so that we don't miss out on anyone who are watching the stream and who are waiting to see where they have been placed. But I believe that's it. Yep, there's the Haas that we talked in the beginning. So moving on, let's just go to tier 2 and see what we have the grid offering there. So this is our tier 2 grid. We will be having tier 2 race every Saturdays at 8 p.m. IST. So the same timings that we followed last season are being followed this season as well, but this time it is basically the pairing is between BK19 and Abhi20, who are taking the Haas seat in our tier 2 grid today. So what do you have to say about this pairing? I will give my 2 cents on this pairing. We already know Abhi20 being one of the drivers in our last season as well in tier 2, doing really well in the middle field to the top field. He was always there consistent with his teammate Abhi, but this time we broke them apart and we have Abhi20 paired with BK19. BK19 has definitely shown a lot of pace to us, provided he can keep out of incidents. If he manages to stay out of any incidents, he will definitely be up there in the finishing order. So what do you have to think about this, Eitzel?
I think you summed it up pretty perfectly there. We basically said denounce Abhi20 pair up and embrace Akash pair up in tier 1. So we basically denounced the two Abhi teams and instead gone for the Akash pair up. So yeah, Abhi20 definitely had the pace in tier 2 last season, but he was a little bit aggressive at times, just maybe forcing the issue a little bit. I think if he focuses on his racecraft, he's definitely got what it takes to win. And BK19, also a strong midfield driver, has to step up a little bit and take some initiative, and he should be right up there as well. So yeah, really good team on paper, but only time will tell.
Well, as one of the persons who was there when making this grid, I'm giving a disclaimer. It was like next level difficult for us to figure out whom to put in tier 2 and whom to pair with whom, because the grid is just insanely competitive this season. There is not a single faster driver, a single slower driver. Everyone is within that 1 or 2 tenths or 3 tenths again. So it was an insane job to pair fairly among all the people. And talking about the running joke, obviously there can be only one running joke, so this time we went with Akash in tier 1 rather than the Abhis in tier 2. So moving on, we have one second. Yeah, so moving on to the next one. Oh my god.
No, oh dear.
That spasmed out very quickly. I don't know what is happening to my PC. Just give me 1 second. I have to see where did things go wrong, and this should fix things. Okay, yeah, I should be back. Yeah, moving on, we have the Mercedes of RB Ferrello and Eric Griffin. So this pairing also can be really interesting. We know Eric Griffin from last season. He was in tier 2020, and last season he was in tier 3, where he has been constantly improving his pace as the season is moving forward, and we already know RB Ferrello and his pace. Obviously this time this man is not getting a Red Bull. That is an unfortunate scene to see there. That's mostly because I believe they both had some Mercedes element common amongst themselves, but nevertheless this might be a very strong pairing. RB being one of the quickest in tier 2, and obviously Eric Griffin being new to the tier 2 scene will obviously be looking into getting the guidance from RB and improving throughout the seasons. Any comments on this 8th cylinder?
Yeah, I think RB, yeah, he's taking a step down this season, but I think that may be for the best. But he can do a really good job here, and he can also focus side by side on improving his skills on non-ABS as well. I think RB has used ABS and traction control in the past, so it might be a big jump for him to go from some of the assists to all assists off. I think it's
no. In tier 2 we do not restrict assists, so they are allowed ABS on and traction control to medium, I believe, or full. We do allow assists, so he does not need to worry about his assist. He just needs to worry about his performance on track.
Yep, and Eric Griffin also stepping up to from tier 3 to tier 2. I think it's going to be very familiar because he's driven a Mercedes in tier 3 and now he's driving a Mercedes in tier 2. A lot of people mentioning how RB Farallon, it's been too long since he's changed his name. So I don't think RB is Red Bull, guys. I think it's in his initials. So I think that joke is getting a bit old even for him. So yeah, great driver lineup for Mercedes. The RB definitely going to be one of the contenders for the Drivers' Championship, and Eric Griffin will need to support him and possibly give him a good fight as well.
Yes, indeed, that is very much true. But let's see what we have the next lineup. So it's the lineup in the Alpha Boys. So it's between Kimrai and Faizan. Faizan, we already know it's a known quantity. Been here with us since the first season onwards, probably at IRC, and him having a lot of pace that we have seen in last season as well in tier 1. So he is now paired with Kimrai, who has again shown a lot of pace to us in the last season in tier 2, finishing up there in the top 10 in most of the races. And Faizan, we already know he was competing with the tier 1 boys, so he definitely has the pace to show in tier 2 as well, and this can be a really good pairing to look out for as we start our next season. What do you have to say about this pairing, Edson?
I think Faizan may end up being one of the dark horses for the Drivers' Championship. He's come a long way in terms of his driving skill. I think he's really leveled up his game, and I think Tier 1 gave him a proper taste of the fast drivers last season, and he put up with the pressure really well. So I think that team lineup, I think Alfa Romeo has a strong lineup on paper, but only time will tell how it goes through. Obviously, Kimra as well, a very experienced driver in his own right. So I think this Alfa Romeo partnership may have a solid chance in the Drivers' Championship, but it'll be up to Faizan to really take the fight to those front guys. He definitely has the pace, no doubt about that. But yeah, I'm really hoping this team does well because it looks like a solid team lineup on paper.
Yes, indeed. Let's see what they will do as our season starts from this week. Obviously, reminder, Tier 2 will be on the Saturdays at 8 p.m. and will be streamed on our IRC official channel, where you are right now watching the grid reveal. But moving on, we have the pairing in Williams of Freeman and Anish Monteiro. Freeman being left behind after he was the guy who was with Banath for the entirety of our previous season, but he is in the Williams and he is right now paired with Anish Monteiro. He did, I believe, if I'm not wrong, Anish did show his presence as a reserve towards the end of our last season, but we were not able to get enough of a data on him, and this time I'm pretty sure he will be a good pairing with Freeman. This can again be a very strong pairing, as we all know that Anish being in tier 1, obviously I'm gonna just say Anish from now on to make my life easy, but Anish being in tier 1 as a reserve definitely meant that he had the pace to be there, and Freeman, we all know the literally defending lion that he is. So this can be a really good pairing, one guy with the pace, one guy with the defense, and they can really work their wonders in our next season. So what do you have to say about this, Etzel?
I think Freeman's definitely become a fan favorite amongst the IRC community for being that ultimate rear gunner, the Valtteri Bottas to Banath's Lewis Hamilton, if you will. I think it's a little harsh on Freeman. I think he definitely does have the pace to really fight with the front guys, but I think he just got caught out a couple of times last season, and obviously Banath, who had such a barnstorming season last time around, which has earned him a tier 1 spot, and Freeman had to take a little bit of a back seat and just support his teammate a little bit, and in that element he is one of the best guys out there for that. He really understands the requirement of the team and can really modify his driving style and modify his priorities as such. So Freeman and Anish Monteiro as well, who was in tier 1, who was my teammate last time around. So this is kind of the team of abandoned drivers, if you will. Technically I didn't abandon Anish Monteiro, but let's just say that I won't be taking part this season, so technically Anish was on his own, so naturally it made sense to bring him and Freeman together, obviously Banath moving up to tier 1. So yeah, again, I keep saying on paper, but once when we see driver lineups, it's important to not only consider the strong lineup that it is in theory, but also in application as well. So Yeah, definitely looking forward to this one, and Freeman's gonna really do this well this season, I guess.
Yes, indeed, and I do see in the chat a lot of people making out puns from Free Man's name. Obviously, free and a man, so that kind of makes sense. How he is, you can say he is free from his leave. I don't know where I am going with this thought, but moving on, we have the pairing in Aston Martin of SSJ Assassin and Sager. SSJ Assassin being in our Tier 2020 league. In our previous season and missing out his championship because of an incident that happened in the very last race of the previous season. So right now he has been promoted to tier 2. Obviously he joined with us previous to previous season, that is in season 6, as a tier 3 driver, but now he is moved on to tier 2 where he has to show what he has learned over the past 2 seasons and what he can bring onto the table when he is being paired with Sager. Again, Sager was one of our tier 2 drivers or a tier 2 reserve, I'm not sure, in our previous season, but was definitely there in a couple of races where he did show some of the pace that he had. So what do you have to say about this, Itzel?
I think SSJ definitely has a point to prove. I think he had a slightly up and down season last time around. I think definitely in his mind he would have hoped it went differently to how it did. Obviously, the final race of the season didn't go quite to plan for him. But yeah, this is going to be a season of a comeback season, if you will, a season to reinvent himself, to really come back like a phoenix from the flames. So yeah, SSJ Assassin, time to hit Super Saiyan, I guess. Time to go Super Saiyan. So he can really elevate his form this season. And Sager, a little bit of an unknown prospect, if you will, in some of the higher tiers. So yeah, he definitely has a point to prove as well. And yeah, hopefully this team does really well, and good luck to them for the season.
Yes, indeed. And SSJ did lose a championship because one of the driver's dog interfered in the race and that caused an incident. That was a really funny one to look at, and even steward on, which the stewards will be able to give more comment on. But definitely this time, hopefully, no one comes in middle of him and the championship, or at least being in the top of the step in this tier. But moving on, we have the pairing of Aditya and Warhammer in the Alpha Tauri. So this is again gonna be a very interesting pair. Aditya has been in tier 1 in past couple of seasons here at IRC, and Warhammer has been a tier 2 guy since the beginning, but he has shown a lot of pace in tier 2. One thing that Warhammer was lacking last season was consistency, and I hope that this season he can get his stuff together and he can get racing and keep his car on the track, because if he can do that, he definitely has the pace to be in the top step of tier 2. What do you have to say about this pairing, Edsel?
I'm really excited for this one. AlphaTauri have got a really strong lineup in tier 2. Aditya, a very well known quantity, lots of pace, very fast, very aggressive as well. He's got all the hallmarks of being one of the best drivers in the tier. Warhammer as well, as you said, if he sorts out his consistency a little bit, yep, he's definitely got what it takes to be up there as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for this AlphaTauri lineup here. They've got a really strong lineup in theory. All they have to do is go out on track and put the theory in application. So yeah, I'm really excited for this lineup. Aditya and Warhammer are very quick drivers. So yeah, only time will tell.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what these boys can do in that AlphaTauri seat that they have. But moving on, we have the Alpine pairing of Paras and Meerkat Initiate. My bad. So Meerkat Initiate and Paras in that beautiful looking Alpine, as we already said. This can be again an interesting pairing. Paras being one of the unique players who uses a phone as his input device, as well as so that can be an interesting thing to watch him play itself. But we all know that last season he was up there. He was legit showing all the wheel boys, all the coordinator controller boys, what he can do with a mixed match pair of input set. And if I'm not wrong, he was our tier 2 champion. Am I?
Yep, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yes.
He was our tier 2 champion.
So all that went down in our race at Monza, if I am not wrong. Bahrain. In our last race, it went down who would win the championship. So that was again an interesting, battle to watch from our previous season. But now he's been paired with Meerkat, one of the newcomers to league racing. Obviously has done a couple of league races with us in the previous season, but definitely will be a factor whom we have to see. He can obviously be he can obviously take guidance from Paras. Might not be able to help on the input device side of thing, but definitely will be able to help on the racing side of thing. What do you have to think about this pairing itself?
I think definitely you have to give a shout out to Paras. He literally overcame all limitations last season. Had faster drivers around him, and obviously a much more inferior input method when compared to the other guys around him. So yeah, big props to this guy. I think he's definitely shown us that you can never let hardware limitations be a limitation in your sim racing career. He's taken the challenge. He's taken the fight to these guys. So really happy to see him. You know get another shot in tier 2. I think it's too little too early for him to move up to tier 1. So yeah, tier 2 is definitely going to be another strong season for him. And Meerkat Initiate, I think he struggled with strategy a couple of times last season. Paras will definitely be able to help him on that account, because I think he nailed a strategy a couple of times as well. Even in Bahrain, we saw him pick an unfavorable strategy, if you will. Definitely kept a lot of people questioning all the way until the end. But yeah, if Meerkat can really step up his strategy game, with the help of Paras, I mean, then yeah, this lineup is going to go a long way, and even constructors championship worthy guy, team right here, and obviously beautiful car, so they'll want to keep it at the front of the grid as much as possible.
Yes, indeed. We will definitely now try to speed up going through the grid. We have McLaren pairing of Heisenberg and Unleashed. Again, Unleashed being this being his first season here at IRC, and he is directly entering into tier 2. That is because of his performance in our evaluation races and his time trial times that he submitted for the sign up. Heisenberg also being one of the newcomers. So this is basically newcomer pairing here going on, and this pairing will be the one surprising factor that we can see on the grid. What do you have to say about this, Itzel?
Yeah, exactly. We've not got really much to go on. We've not seen much of these drivers. I think we've seen them in a couple of open lobby, unranked open lobbies before. I think I've seen Heisenberg's name pop up a couple of times, but definitely the first time I'm hearing of Unleashed. I believe that's how it's spelled. It's pronounced it's written Unleashed there, but I believe it's Unleashed. So yeah, Heisenberg and Unleashed definitely the unknown quantity. Even we can't really say much about them.
Yes.
We wish them all luck for the season.
Yes, indeed. That's the best we can do. We can wish them luck and they can show the old boys what they have got as they start racing. But moving on, we have the red prancing horse pairing of Streeter and Shawshank. So again, Shawshank being one of the newcomers to our league. So a lot of the newcomers to our league racing scene have made up to tier 2, and he is being paired with one of our old veterans, that is Streeter, who has been here at IRC since season 1. Obviously Streeter taking a bit of a laid back approach to the league, but he driving on a controller, but he is definitely there to coach his teammate into greatness, and we can see a lot from this pairing as well. Any words on this itself?
I think Streeter will be really disappointed because he's not in an Alpine, but I don't think it will go to his preference all the time. But he has got, I would say, a pretty nice looking car. I think the Ferrari is a very handsome looking car in its own right. So yes. I don't think Streeter should be complaining and moaning too much. But yeah, I mean that aside, Streeter is a very capable driver. I believe he's on the controller as well. Has been for a very long time. So yeah, very looking forward to this lineup a lot. I think Shawshank can also learn a lot from Streeter. I think he's new to the IRC community as well, so he's an unknown prospect. Can't really say much about him at this point, but if he's fast enough for tier 2, then he's fast enough to fight it out with the rest of these guys, and he can learn a lot from Streeter. Streeter is a very calm, very methodical driver. I think a lot of people in the chat saying Streeter won't race, but yeah, no, when Streeter races, on his day, he's unstoppable. And if he gets the strategy right, he's definitely giving those front boys a really hard time. So yeah, Shawshank and Streeter good luck for the season in those bright red Ferraris, and really looking forward to this one.
Yes, indeed. A huge shout out to all our people sitting in the commentary box and enjoying themselves. I did see a big spike in peak concurrent viewers in the beginning, but we have settled at 80 people who are watching us reveal the grid. But without further delay, let's go to our final pairing of tier 2, that is in the Red Bull of Abhi and Alpha Bot. So Alpha Bot, again, we know from last season he has the pace, but he has to be consistent. So the day he is consistent on the track and he is not involved in any incident, he will be there up in the top. Abhi, again, in the same Red Bull which he was in the last season, not much of an upgrade for him in terms of constructor wise, but he has definitely got another teammate starting with a letter A. So that is something that he has got same. But Abhi again showing a lot of pace in the later half of the last season in tier 2 as well. So that's what we are looking for, a constant improvement in people's performance, and we expect him to do much better this season as well. Any wordings on this, Eitzel?
I think this is a great team partnership, but I think that with my brief experience that I've had with Alphabot, obviously we were all part of the Williams gang, if you will, last season. We were all helping out each other in our respective races. I think the one thing I can say about Alphabot is he gets a little bit too tense during the races. He tends to be very reactionary to anything that happens on track. I think he just needs to find his cool. He just needs to take a chill pill and just relax and enjoy the race, because he's definitely got the pace. He's got the ability. The amount of ability he has for his age is absolutely incredible. So it's only going to be, it's only going to be getting better for him. He just needs to take it a little bit easy, not be too affected by the results. I think he's someone who gets very easily influenced by a result, or if he spins or anything. I think he just needs to learn to relax and learn to just keep his head down and get the race over with and drive to the flag. And yeah, Abhi is going to be great for that, because he's definitely got the ability to help his teammate out massively.
Yes, indeed. So that brings a close to our tier 2 grid reveal. We will, without further delay, let's move on to tier 3, because I believe we have been streaming from the past 45 minutes, and obviously the people whose name have not come up are probably having some anxiety attack right now. So without further delay, moving on to tier 3. Obviously the tier 3 will be happening at the same time as tier 2020 from last season, that is on Sundays at 2:30 p.m. IST. Tentatively, all these times are tentative. Mostly this times will be followed, provided there is some IRL GP, real life GP going on at that time, or some kind of quali going on at that time. But starting off, we have the pairing in the Haas of Aces Scoop and Uday. Again, we might not have a lot to talk about, you guys, because most of the drivers here are new, so we will be just keeping it short. No hard feelings for you. It's just that we don't know you well enough. Obviously after the season we will be able to talk a lot about you, and especially in this pairing we have seen Uday in last season in tier 2020. Definitely someone who can show a lot of pace if he can keep it on the track as usual. So if he is able to not get involved in incidents, he is the one to look out for, and this pairing can again bring wonders from the evaluation race. What we saw Aces Scoop participate in, we have seen him do really well, and even in battles going side by side with our faster boys. So this can be an extra interesting pairing to look out for, and definitely a lot is expected from this pairing. Moving on to the pairing of Mercedes of Jacqueline Ford and Saurav Pat. Again, both newcomers to our league. Not much info we have apart from the evaluation races that they participated in and the time trial times that they put in the sign up. Jacqueline Ford setting a blistering, being up there with his times in our sign-ups, and even in evaluation race we legit got to see a Hamilton Verstappen moment during the end, second last 3-4 laps of the race that we had evaluation race at Abu Dhabi, and I still can't forget that battle. It was an intense battle between Jacqueline Ford and one more person, and he did show a lot of pace and a lot of cleanliness in his driving, and which we expect him to show throughout the season, and expect him to really score a lot of points based on his pace that he has. Saurabh Pat being there as a teammate for him in the Mercedes, obviously he also showed showed a lot of pace, being in the middle field to the top in the evaluation races that he participated in. Obviously met in some unfortunate incidents in the evaluation races, but definitely looked a bit more pacey, a bit more racy in those races. Moving on to Alfa Romeo, we have the pairing of Neon and Mountain Wolf. Neon being one of our coordinators and a known quantity from previous season tier 2020. We do have him in tier 3 again. Again, he is on a keyboard still, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but he is showing a good enough pace in the grid right now, and he's being paired with Mountain Wolf. Mountain Wolf again, I believe he was part of a couple of races in our previous season, and he has also shown a lot of pace in those. So this can be also a very good pairing to look out for. Any comments on this you have, Etzel? Do you know these people, or am I just skipping you even though you want to talk about them? Do you have any points on them?
I've just been sitting back and enjoying you going through these grids. I think definitely I don't have much to add on really. As you said, many of these drivers are unknown quantities, so they'll only get a chance to establish themselves this season, especially tier 3. I think this is the proving ground for a lot of the higher up grids. We've seen Kuberabi jump from tier 3 to tier 1. So yeah, these guys they may not have much going for them right now, but one good season and they can be right up there with some of the fastest guys in IRC. So yeah, I mean, we can just give these guys the spotlight for now, but it will be all the talking should be done on track.
Yes, indeed, that is very much true. Very well summed up by my co-commentator Etzel. Moving on, we have the Williams pairing of McLean Don't Die and Suhaib. Again, Suhaib, I believe he participated in a couple of races last season with us, but McLean Don't Die, I don't remember seeing him on the grid, so he has something to prove. Obviously, in the evaluation races, he was showing quite enough pace in the race, being up there in the top 10 in the lobby that he was in, and Suhaib also being towards the middle to the top of the grid. So this pairing also can be a really good one to look at. Again, both of them have shown good enough performance on the track as well, going side by side, and good enough racing as well. Moving on to the Aston Martin pairing of Manish Kanchan and Dark Knight. So Dark Knight has been racing with us a lot and has been getting some feedback on his racing etiquettes, and we are seeing a lot of improvement coming out from that man whenever he is racing with us. And Manish Kanchan, a known quantity, he has been with us in tier 3, in tier 2020 in the past 2 seasons respectively, and he has definitely shown what he has got, being up there in tier 2020 as well as in tier 3 when he joined us here at IRC back in season 6. So this can be an interesting pairing to look at. Manish Kanchan can be the one who is scoring the points, and he can be a mentor to Dark Knight and keep teaching him and keep improving him. Most of the drivers who are here have already improved massively on the feedback that we gave them in evaluation races itself, and we were really impressed by those performances, and that's why they are here in tier 3 and will be racing and improving as the season goes on. And who knows, maybe next season they will be in tier 2 or even tier 1. Moving on, we have the Alpha Tauri pairing of Thermophobe and Gitin Samuel. Thermophobe was racing with us previous season, but was on a break from this game itself for a very long time, and because he has just come back in this racing scene with F1 2021, he is definitely lacking some of the consistency features. He is still getting used to the mechanics of 2021, and he will definitely be improving as the season goes forward. But Gitin Samuel, again one of the newcomers to our league, has not raced with us. I am missing my tenses here. So has not raced with us yet, but definitely has shown a lot of potential in our evaluation races that he participated in, being up there in the top of the lobby that he was in, and obviously a great racecraft that was also shown from him in our evaluation races. So this can be a very good pairing if Geethan can keep it on the track and maintain his pace. this team can be the one to look out for. But moving on to the pairing in Alpine of Vinay and Mighty Owl. Vinay again being one of the persons who is with us since the past 3 or 4 seasons now. We already know he has come a very long way from when he joined us, and now he is able to do consistent times. So definitely that is one good thing that he has in his bank, and he is paired with Mighty Owl. I think they are friends. I'm not sure. Do not quote me on that. But if they are friends, then this can be a really good synergy going on between them, and we can see a lot of team orders or team action going on while they are racing on the track. But
we could also see them fall apart over the course of the season if they come wheel to wheel. So that can always be a double-edged sword, huh, Propi?
Yes, that is indeed true. So they can definitely get into some incident, and friendships can be lost in a race. But I hope that their friendship is not as weak as just one contact, or I can say the front wing of these cars.
Definitely.
Okay, so moving on, we have the McLaren pairing of Ink and Slaya. YT again, Slaya buying the game just 2 days back, mind you. And he legit signed up and participated in evaluation races where he showed really good potential, has a lot to learn in this game, has a lot to learn about this game, but definitely has the ability to go up there. And Ink being one of the veterans in this game as well as in league racing in general is there to guide this man up there. So this can be a really good pairing to look out for towards the end of the season, when especially when we are looking constructor wise, because I am definitely expecting Slaya to improve under the guidance of Ink, especially in league racing terms. But moving on, we have the red prancing horse pairing of Ripe and Ritesh. So again, these two people, Ripe being with us for a couple of seasons now and has definitely shown a lot of pace to us and a lot of things to us, which we expect that he continues as the season goes forward. Ritesh again one of the newcomers and a new known quantity. We still don't have much data to speak about him, but based on what he showed in the evaluation races, he definitely had the pace. A bit of consistency was lacking, but that he can gain over the season, and if he is able to do that, this can be a really good pairing to look out for as well. Moving on, we have the final pairing in the Red Bull of Logesh and Daryl IDG. Daryl being Daryl DG, so Daryl being the single person who caused an incident because of his dog, and that caused the championship decision last season. Hopefully this time he is able to keep his dog away from his controller when he is racing, and hopefully this time he is able to get better positions on the track. Logesh, we were just mesmerized by his pace that he has shown, and definitely this pairing can be the one to look out for. Logesh is there to provide the speed, Daryl is there to provide the experience in league racing, so this can also be a mutual learning curve, and this team can also show a good enough potential. But that will round up for tier 3 for us. Again, please understand us, we are not speaking a lot about you because we still don't have a lot of data on you guys. You guys have just raced with us twice or thrice, so we know what we know, and that's why we didn't give a brief description about what you have done in the previous seasons, since you were never a part of us. But now hopefully you will show us something, and we will be taking note definitely as these boys start driving this weekend on Sundays at 2:30 p.m. IST. Obviously will be streamed on our official YouTube channel where you are watching this grid reveal, and obviously if you are not subscribed to IRC channel, you can subscribe as well and hit the bell notification to get notified of all these streams when we go live, so that you never miss out on any action on the grid. But without further delay, let's just move on to the Xbox grid that we have. Xbox people will be driving on the Thursdays at 9 p.m. IST. Again, will be streamed on our official IRC channel here itself. But going through the grid, we did see a lot of new people signing up in Xbox. So again, there will be some factor of that here as well. But in the Haas, starting off from the Haas, we have a pairing of Hazard King. Okay.
Hazard King and Mist.
Yes. So the name is not very inspiring enough. Hopefully,
Yeah,
Hopefully you don't get into incidents and
yeah.
you are
Haphazard. Yeah, haphazard may not be the appropriate name to put in your game attack, good sir. Yeah, haphazard may
yes.
not be the best word.
Yes, it's basically you are calling for bad luck up there, but hopefully this pairing can get it done right there, and hopefully they have. They show the pace again. Mist also seemed to be a newcomer to the Xbox scene, and same as Haphazard. So we do not have much of the info on these two folks, but definitely they have a lot to prove once the league racing starts, and they will be proving in the Huskar. Moving on, we have the Mercedes pairing of Steeled Sneeze and Tulla. I believe I have heard both of these people name, and I have seen them race as well in the couple of races that I have streamed and watched on our IRC channel. So definitely both of them have shown good enough pace. Where they're in the middle to top field, and this can be a really good pairing to look out for. Both being a bit average on the pace, and they can really combine their strengths to make it up there in the podium standings. Moving on, we have the Alfa Romeo pairing of Simply YT and Dove Dut Menon. Okay, I think I have never heard that name, so he might be a newcomer to our league racing in Xbox. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat box, but Simply YT obviously is a known factor. He was the champion of Xbox Season 7 at IRC, so we know what Simply YT has got to give, and if Dev Dut Menon is new in the league racing seed, he definitely has a mentor to talk to race with, and definitely he can look into improving as the season goes forward. Moving, yeah. Anything you have to say on that, Etzel?
Yeah, I think Devdutt is going to have a lot to learn from simply being the reigning champion, defending champion. He has a good teacher there. I think sometimes may not be the best influence. Simply, he can say some things that can get on the wrong side and rub you the wrong way. But yeah, definitely in terms of on-track pace, he's definitely got what it takes to win the championship. Again, that's unless someone has other ideas. As we move on to Aston Martin,
Yes,
briefly.
yes, indeed. Aston Martin, we have Kundan
Kundan
the
the
gamer.
gamer
Okay,
and face fighter.
face
Kundan
fighter.
the gamer and face fighter. Yep.
Okay,
Face
so
fighter is definitely a known commodity. We know what he can bring to the table. So an ex, not an ex champion. I think he's definitely had some good races, but also had some questionable races in the past. I believe Face Fighter was also in my team for the Nations Cup. So yeah, really happy to see him joining the grid. I'm not sure if he's under a different name in Steam because I'm not see. I definitely know he plays the game and he has participated in the past. So yeah, Face Fighter, a very good driver on paper, and I think the unknown commodity of Kundan the Gamer may also play a lot into this Aston Martin team.
yes, indeed. We will just have to wait and watch what this pairing has to offer. But moving on to AlphaTauri, we have the pairing of AJ Sam and Contendant Mink. Our old veterans, basically, both coordinators being paired. AJ Sam has definitely shown the pace. He is probably one of the fastest among the Xbox boys when he is consistent and when it's his day. And Contendant Mink also being up there whenever he is showing the pace and whenever he is on it. So definitely this team can be up there to challenge for the podium positions in the constructor battle as well. We have to wait and watch what they can do. Obviously, there has been some inconsistency issues, and they have gotten into incidents because of unluckiness, and also we will see if this time luck is in their favor or not, and if they can get up there in the field itself. But moving on to McLaren, we have the pairing of Rahul and Pasty. Pasty, I believe, joined last season or in the middle of the last season, or he might be new because I have not heard his name a lot. And that same goes for Rahul as well. I have not seen him race a lot here at IRC. So it will be an interesting thing to see again a pairing of relatively new people put together in the orange papaya. Obviously not inside a papaya, inside a car which is colored orange papaya. So we will see what this orange McLaren can show us on the grid as we start the league racing at Xbox this Thursday at 9 p.m. IST. Moving on, we have the pairing of Stealthy Sunny and Contro Bobby. Again, a known quantity we have here in the red prancing horses, that is the Ferrari. So Stealthy Sunny being with us, League Racing in the Xbox season, Xbox tier from the past, I believe 3 or 4 seasons, and same goes for Contro Bobby. So both have shown exceptional pace in racing, and both have shown that they can be up there in the podium positions if it is that their day, and if they can keep it on the track, and if they can maintain consistent pace, that is. So again, a very strong pairing that we are seeing here will be there to fight for the constructors in the Xbox, and might even fight the pairing of AJ Sam and who it was, I forgot, Content and Mink. So that can be a good battle to see. Again, they can be on and off. Stealthy Sunny has been known to get into some kind of incidents once in a while, so if he can keep it clean, definitely this can be an interesting thing to watch on the grid. But moving on to our final pairing for Xbox, we have KT and HB58. Again, HB58 is also known as Hridaya, if I'm not wrong, in the Xbox community, and Catty being one of our known quantities. So HB58 has definitely shown tremendous pace in the previous season and the previous to previous that, and if he continues that, this also can be a very strong pairing to look out for. Catty being as well one of our veteran drivers, has been racing in Xbox since probably the beginning of the Xbox community here at IRC. So definitely something that this pairing has to offer is their experience in league racing with us. So any comments on any pairing that you have, Itzel, that I missed?
I think the Red Bull one just caught me really off guard, because that on paper is a really strong driver lineup. Catty and HB are both very good drivers, so yeah, Red Bull is gonna be strong in the Constructors Championship, and both of those guys are gonna be fighting for the Drivers Championship as well. So yeah, Red Bull, I think on paper have got the most potent team, but in the past I've been proven wrong many times. So maybe this is an opportunity for some of the other guys to step up. But on paper, that team looks looking mega right now.
Yes, indeed. And just a reminder, so our Xbox leagues will be streamed on our official IRC channel at 9 p.m. IST on Thursdays. So do tune in for that. And as I said before, subscribe and hit the bell notification to get notified about the same if you just missed the action, if you don't get a notification. But that sort of concludes our known factor that we had, coming on to the surprise that you guys have been waiting for. And before that, I would like to give you guys some numbers. So this season has been one of the biggest season in terms of drivers that we have seen till now, in terms of signups that we have seen for our F1 league. We have gotten 100 plus signups for the whole F1 league that we are gonna start in season 8. That includes both Xbox and PC, but we have gotten 100 plus, and obviously at one point we couldn't just leave our folks behind, and so we have decided to introduce a very new tier from our coming up season, that is tier 4, and this is for our PC PC side of the league. So I hope that this tier does well and we can continue doing tier 4 in the future seasons. But just because of the number of drivers we had and the number of signups, I am proud to announce the season 4 of IRC tier 4 of IRC season 8 in the PC F1 league. So we will just start off with our tier 4 boys and the pairing. Obviously right now we do not have a full grid, that's why you saw the Haas drivers pairing left out vacant. We do have a couple of vacant seats in tier 4 at the moment because of some drivers not making the cut of being in the permanent seat or some other reason regarding that. But tier 4, the grid starting off with Mercedes itself is comprising of Dark Killer and okay, so it's comprising of Dark Killer and Hell Zapper. Again, one second, there is a mistake in the time. So it's gonna be, so tier 4 is gonna happen on Saturdays at 8 p.m. IST. Sorry about that, my bad. I did it in a hurry and I forgot to change the time. But it's gonna happen on Saturdays at 8 p.m. IST. It's gonna run parallel to tier 2 at the same time. The reason why we are doing it is right now this tier won't be having any streams, but definitely everything else about this tier will be the same as what we follow for tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. Obviously this decision was taken within the past 1 or 2 days, so we are yet to update the rulebook, but don't worry, you will be get an updated rulebook in the next 1 day, and we will include all provisions for tier 4 on our websites and all those things as well. The only thing that tier 4 won't get is a stream, but apart from that, full league race feel will be available to the tier 4 boys, including the drivers championship and the constructor championship. So talking about constructor championship, starting with the Mercedes pairing of Dark Killer and Hell Zapper. Again, almost 99% of the people in this grid are very new to our league racing scene, or even very new to the game. So we might not have a lot of info or things to talk about you, but don't feel bad. Obviously you have something to prove here, and we will get back to you in the next season when we see you race, and we will talk more about you guys. But based on what I have seen from Hell Zapper and Dark Killer in the evaluation races, Dark Killer was up there, was able to avoid most of the incidents in the last evaluation race that he participated, and that resulted in him finishing up there in the final evaluation race that he participated. Obviously all these people have some places to improve on, be it racecraft, be it consistency, and or be it the pace, raw pace that they have. And obviously this pairing can be a good one. We don't have a lot of data, but we tried to pair a faster guy with a slower guy, so that or a more better I should use a more better finishing in the evaluation race in overall, in terms of race pace, in terms of consistency, in terms of racecraft, and in terms of their raw pace, with a guy whom we thought would need a lot of learning, so that there could be a mutual learning going on within the team. So right now in Mercedes we have Dark Killer and Hell Zapper. In Alfa Romeo we have Tarang and ABD. Again, Tarang has shown a lot of pace and potential in the last season when he joined us in our tier 2020 season, but he has still a lot to prove to us, and hopefully this season is the one where he will show us more of side by side and more of brilliant performance that he can achieve there. And to accompany him, he has ABD in his team. Again, ABD being one of our newcomers to our league racing scene, so we will have to wait and watch he has to offer to the team, to this constructor as a whole in Alfa Romeo. Moving on to Williams, we have a pairing of Rajesh and Kraken. Kraken is one of the guys who is fairly new to the league racing scene, so he has a lot to learn as he goes through the league racing procedure, and participates in more and more races, learns a bit more about the racing and a bit more about the league racing scene. And he is right now paired with Rajesh, who has shown some really good pace in all the evaluation races that he has participated. So definitely Rajesh is up there in this tier, and we can expect a lot to come out from this constructor as well. Moving on to the Aston Martin, we have Raftar and Anav pairing up in the Aston Martin. So Raftar, again, I believe he was a part of our league racing towards the end of our previous season, and he did participate in a couple of races. Anav, again, being a new quantity, we do not have much data apart from in the evaluation race that he participated. He met up with an unfortunate incident, but definitely showed some good racecraft and good racing etiquette till what we saw from him. So moving on to the AlphaTauri team, we have Pranav and Acid. Again, Acid.
Robbie, the stream has stopped again.
Sorry for that minor hiccup. I believe there was some some minor issues that was being pointed out by one of us. I believe can someone in the chat let us know if the stream is back? Just
we are back, bro.
okay.
We are back.
Okay, so we are back. That was a misinformation that we got, that the stream went out. But carrying on with the AlphaTauri, we have Pranav and Acid right now in the AlphaTauri pairing. Acid has shown us a lot of battles that he has been in. He was a part of our tier 2020 tier that we had in the previous season, and we have seen him race with his teammate. If I'm not wrong, it was Bioride, and definitely he would have learned a couple of things from him. And right now he is in tier 4, and his teammate is Pranav, who again has put in some really good times in the charts, in the signups. So definitely expecting some kind of pace coming out from Pranav, and a lot of consistency and general league awareness coming out from Acid. So this can also be a really good pairing to look out for. But moving on to Alpine, we have the pairing of Swatcat and Viral Shrihan in the Alpine seat. So again, a beautiful car and two beautiful teammates, hopefully. So Shrihan Viral Shrihan has also shown us a lot of good racing in the evaluation race, and Swatcat has definitely shown us that he has the pace to be paired with Viral Shrihan here. And this pairing can also bring out a lot of exciting championship battles that we can see. Again, more information we'll get as we start racing this Saturday at 8 p.m. IST with our tier 4 boys. Moving on, we have the pairing in the McLaren of Ridesh and Dr. Wheels. Dr. Wheels, again, fairly new to the game in F1 2021, still learning the ropes. Ridesh has shown us some really good pace in the evaluation race that he has participated in. So can be a good learning opportunity for both of them, but mainly for Dr. Wheels. So if Dr. Wheels improves throughout the seasons as the season progresses, this can again be a very interesting pairing to look out for. Moving on to the red prancing horse, that is the Ferrari, we have the pairing of Divyansh Kaushik and F1 Pandits. F1 Pandits recently has moved on to the multiplayer scene. Before this, he was only involved in career mode playing, so he is still one of the person who is learning the ropes. And obviously Divyansh Kaushik is there to show us what he can do with a faster car. Etzel, could you just quickly give some sense on this? I believe you have watched something on these two people.
I believe I have. Both these guys are pretty fast drivers in their own right. They've done really well in the evaluation races as well. So again, as you mentioned before, and as we have mentioned numerous times, Tier 4 is really a proving ground. It's really a stomping ground for these guys to establish themselves within the IRC community. Obviously, a lot of these guys are new to the community, so it's too soon to expect to be fighting alongside all the best guys. So it gives them a chance to not only drive alongside equally I won't say inexperienced drivers, but let's say drivers of a similar pace to them. So there's definitely a good opportunity for them to get accustomed to the whole league racing scene and get accustomed to fighting alongside 20 other drivers on the grid right now. Some slots are free in Tier 4, so definitely an opportunity for more people to join in. But yeah, I mean, everyone's a little bit of an unknown commodity in Tier 4. Obviously, we've seen some of these guys, but we've seen them as reserves, or we've seen them as temporary drivers or stand-in drivers during the course of the season. So yeah, I think as you pointed out in the past during the stream, Tier 3 and Tier 4 is really a proving ground for these guys to establish themselves, for them to show the coordinators that, okay, I've definitely got the pace to fight alongside faster guys. Maybe I might put myself in contention for Tier 2 or maybe even Tier 1. You know, we've seen crazier things happen. Drivers moving from Tier 4 to Tier 1 would be a big jump, but yeah, definitely looking forward to both of these guys taking to the grid in Tier 4. Obviously, it won't be streamed, but maybe that's a little bit of an advantage, maybe a double-edged sword, if you will.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. But yeah, that's fairly good points that you have mentioned there. Divyansh Kaushik obviously has shown us a lot of pace. So we'll see what these pairing can achieve. Moving on to the pairing in the Red Bull, we have this will be our final pairing for tonight. So we have Vavav and Deadshot, who are paired together again. Both of them fairly new to the league racing here at IRC, and let's see what they have to offer and what they have to show. For us here at IRC. Again, Vavav has shown some really good pace and some really good consistency in the evaluation race that he participated. That shot being unlucky, if I'm not wrong, in the evaluation race, and game bugging out on him and him not able to show us much of what he has got in the race. But hopefully now that he has a permanent seat in tier 4, he will be there to show us more of the action that is there to show. But yeah, that sort of brings us to the end. Again, reminder, tier 4 which will happen every Saturday on 8 p.m. IST barring any real life events. This will not be streamed on our official IRC channel, but definitely as these people improve and as these people learn their steps and their ropes in our league racing, they have a chance to improve to tier 3 or tier 2 or even tier 1. Who knows, we might find a gem in this grid. No one knows as of now. We will only get to know once we start racing, which is gonna happen from this weekend onwards, and the first race is gonna be the Xbox race that is gonna happen this Thursday at 9 p.m. IST. But quickly going through the final grid, so this is our tier 1 lineup. Again, all this info will be put up on our social media platforms, on our Instagram, on our Twitter, on our Facebook. So if anyone wants to refer back to this lineup, they can directly go there and view all of this. These will be put up within the next 10 or 15 minutes, and you should be able to see whom have you been paired with and in which team you have been paired with. But also talking about what happens now is basically all you guys will be getting. Whoever has gotten a permanent seat will be getting a role with respect to the tier that they have been assigned to and the constructor that they have been assigned to. You guys will be getting a separate VC where you guys can sit and race together when you are participating, to do all your team orders, get the full feel of league racing. And you can even ask your tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 brothers to help you out. That goes for all the tiers. So it's not like tier 1 and tier 4 are divided. At the end of the day, the aim of this community is to help everyone out. So definitely I would genuinely ask all our tier 1 boys to take initiative and help with our rising stars of the future, as you can say, and help them learn the ropes here. And obviously a tier 1 Mercedes driver can obviously be a race engineer to a tier 2, similarly for tier 3 or tier 4. So it's like a family of 8 drivers if you are in Mercedes, 10 drivers if you are Mercedes. I am forgetting that there is Xbox tier as well. So total 10 drivers you have as a family in one constructor. You all guys can sit together. You will be having a dedicated VC on our server, so don't worry, we will be giving you roles and you will be getting to see those. You can make your own groups, personal groups. You can have chats there. You can enjoy the full race team experience and also assign engineers, race engineers and all for yourself. Okay. Honorable mention before we end this stream would be the reserve drivers. So we definitely have a couple of reserve drivers who were not able to make the cut because of one reason or the another. So starting off with tier 1, we have Violent Gandhi and Eccentric, who are tier 1 reserves driver as of now. So these two will be in, they can fight for a seat in tier 1 if there is a vacant seat. For tier 2 we have Reese as a reserve driver, so he can be opting to race that week if provided a vacant seat is available. Then in tier 3 we do not have any reserve driver as of now. In tier 4 we have Shrey 220 as a reserve driver as of now. So these are the reserve drivers of their respective tiers, and obviously more info on how the reserve system works, how the attendance works, how the what will be the league rules, the league settings, the lobby settings, the stewarding settings, how to report people, everything will be available on the league rules. We will obviously be updating our league rules to accommodate tier 4, but as of now it accommodates the 3 tiers and the tier Xbox. So you can obviously go over and have a look at our detailed league rule book, and we obviously based on which tier you are in. Your coordinator will be having a small driver's briefing before the start of the first race of the season to inform you more about how the system works and all those things. So worry not, fret not, it's all going up from here. All you need to worry about now is practice for your first race, which we are starting off this Thursday and this weekend for our Xbox and PC respectively. Obviously the first track being our Austria, none other than Austria indeed. So that will be a really good track to start on. What do you think, Eitzel?
Yeah, I'm really pumped up for the season. I think you've got me pumped up with all this energy. You've been talking constantly for the last 20 minutes. I've just been sitting here wondering how the hell is he still talking? He's got so much energy, and now I've got the same energy as well. Yes, this season's going to be an absolute blast to not only watch but also to commentate over as well. I think you're definitely looking forward to that as well, I hope. And yeah, Austria is a brilliant starting track for the season, and you can find the rest of the season calendar as well. I think that should be posted pretty soon on all the socials, and of course if not, you can join the server and find out for yourself. So yeah, the season's very, very well stacked. We've got a lot of great tracks on there, a lot of new tracks as well. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up there, right?
Yes, we can definitely wrap it up there. But as Eitzel said, so if you are a guy who likes to race with us, if you are a guy who would like to be part of whatever we showed just now and get into the league racing action that we have for you today, or we have on offer, you can definitely consider joining our league or our community as well. It doesn't need to be that you are you own a game or for you to be a part of our community. Obviously anyone who is interested can be in our community if they are a motorsport enthusiast. So if you are a motorsport enthusiast, you can head over to the links mentioned in the description below, click on them and join our community. And obviously if you are looking to be a part of the league racing, be it in F1, be it in ACC, be it in AC or any other motorsport game, dirt rally, we have communities for even Forza. So if you are looking into being in any of those communities, you can definitely be a part of this community, and all the links to those will be mentioned in the description box down below. So that's it from us. It's me and Eitzel who are signing off. All the links can be seen on the screen as well as are in the description below. All the information will be put out on our social media soon after this stream ends. But thank you everyone who has been sticking with us for over an hour of this stream and the grid reveal. Hope we see most of you on the track and hope we start off with the action soon enough. But that's it from my side and we will sign off now. Thank you for everyone for watching. Have a good day and have a good season ahead. Thank you everyone. Good night and see you.